Are we going to be the kind of podcast that has like a little intro before the intro?
Oh, like one of the funniest moments of the podcast. Yeah, I think that's fun. I like when they do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh God.
Well,
How do you even start this? Welcome to the first Baddy Breakdowns podcast episode.
I'm Bridget.
Yep, and I'm Maddie, and today we are going to be talking about Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. I'm going to give a little overview of the game, and then I'm going to pass it to Bridget to talk about kind of like the critical reception, more about how it was made and why it was made and who created it. And then in the second half, we're going to talk about the game in depth because we both have lots of notes. And we're very excited to talk about it. We have explicitly not talked to each other about this game before recording so that we have the best conversation possible for the podcast. Okay. So, Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. Actually, there's a fun story as to why we picked this as our first game, which is that Bridget took a quiz.
Yeah. I think it was the Quantic Foundry quiz for like your favorite, like best game for you or something like that.
And Dream Daddy was Bridget's best game, according to Quantic Foundry. Number one recommendation.
I think after we talk about it a little bit, I don't know how I feel about that now. Still good. Well,
yes.
Yeah.
And essentially, I'm going to read the Steam description because I think it is great. So Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator, is a game where you play as a dad and your goal is to meet and romance other hot dads. Are you ready? Hi, ready. I'm dad. Which is just wonderful. And then a little bit more about it. It is a game where you're a dad and you get to customize your dad, and you're single and you just moved to a cul-de-sac with your daughter, and there are 7 eligible dads in the exact same cul-de-sac. That is an important note, that want to date you. It is a visual novel with some mini games sprinkled in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Bridget, tell us about the critical reception.
Yeah.
And who made it and why they made it, maybe. If you have that.
I do have that.
Okay.
I have 5 pages of notes. So I figured I would start with the company that actually made it because a lot of the critical reception actually had to do with the company itself, which is really interesting. Yeah. And so Dream Daddy was made by the game Grumps. The game Grumps,
heard of them.
Okay, you have. Cool.
Well, I know they're a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, they do Let's Plays. They're not like an actual game studio. It's just 2 guys who got super famous doing these Let's Plays. And then they were like, okay, let's hire on some people to actually like do stuff for us because we make a crap ton of money. And so in the Game Grumps studio, the people who actually run it, they let their employees like follow their passions. I found this super cute I know it's really cute.
Oh, that is cute.
I know. They found this super cute documentary that went into the making of Dream Daddy, which we can link in the show notes. But he actually had a line in it that was like, it's a crime to steal like people's passions. And so he wanted people to actually like do their passions at work, even if it didn't really have anything to do with the actual like job they were supposed to be doing. And so it was made by the Game Grumps, but it was actually 2 people, a part of the company, not the Game Grumps themselves. And they did it. It was kind of fun. A couple of them went to Disney World, and they joked that they didn't actually want to be there for the rides or like the delicious churros, but for the really hot dads. And I feel like that definitely comes across in this game. But it was very funny. It started off with like this meme, this joke, and inspired by Hotiful Boyfriend, that like pigeon dating sim. Yeah, it's really good. 10 out of 10. Inspired by Hotiful Boyfriend, they decided they wanted to just like pitch this game. And the Game Grumps were like, yeah, do it. Like,
nice.
Great. And so they did it. And so when we talk about like the critical reception of the game, it definitely had a few bumps. Primarily because, one, the Game Grumps were the folks that were producing it, and then two, they had never made a game before. And so both, like, together, there was a little bit of, like, I want to say controversy, and some of it really is not controversial. It's just, like, normal game development, and then some of it is a little spicy. So we'll see how far we want to go into the spicy takes.
I kind of want to get spicy.
Yeah, I think we'll want to get spicy, but feel free to, like, do we have a safe word in this podcast? No, I'm just kidding. We'll dig in and we'll see.
Okay.
So first controversy, really not a controversy at all. They were going to announce on like a Father's Day, as a joke, like, haha, and then release just a little bit later. And then they had literally never made a video game before.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they didn't actually get this stuff out because they started making it like 9 months before, and they had never made a game before. And it was just a lot of, surprise work.
Yeah.
I think in today's timeline where games are getting pushed back like a year, that this is really tame because they literally were like announced in Father's Day timeline. They waited like a month to release. I think they announced the release for July 14th is what I have. And then they delayed the release 5 days after that. So
and that was the
late.
Okay.
And yet people...
We are living in a new world.
Yeah, exactly. And like people were actually really mad about it. And I think the reason that they were mad was because they didn't announce the game was delayed until like the end of the day that it was releasing.
I see.
And so I think people were more mad about the lack of communication than the actual 5 days lateness. But when I saw that it was 5 days late, I like cackled. I was like, 5 days.
5 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's like really nothing like at all. But then it kind of, so as I'm trying to do this research, I found that first. I'm like, is this the controversy really? Because I had found a suspicious post that said there was controversy. And I was like, this isn't it. And so I kept digging a little bit deeper. And I learned a little bit about like, it treaded into the like inclusivity space is kind of where the more spicy controversy comes.
Okay.
So this is obviously an LGBTQ plus game. You play a dad, you date hot dads, like vibe. And the folks that made it, especially in this documentary, the documentary was like really cute. They talked a lot about how much it meant to them that they were coming out with this LGBTQ plus game that had representation. One of the like best received pieces of the game was the fact that like you can pick a trans dad like bod when you do the character creation. Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And they even have, I don't know if you ended up getting this, and maybe we'll talk about it more later, but one of the dads is actually trans themselves.
What?
Yeah.
I missed that.
It's because they don't like hit you over the face with it. It's like one line about like binding that he mentions. Yeah. And so it's like this little thing. It's like canon, and they just don't hit you over the head with it. Really cute. Okay. But it was one of the things that they wanted to do to make this game for representation. Yeah. And they also wanted to make it with the like, haha, it's a dad dating simulator, but they wanted it to like mean things. Yeah. And so they wanted to, I think they used the phrase Trojan horse meaning into like the story.
Yeah.
And so they wanted you to like come in for this dad dating sim and then be surprised by the like sentimental.
Accurate.
Yeah, I know. I think they did a good job. And so when this like happened and I watched this documentary, I was like, this is adorable. I love everything about this. And so when I was like digging a little bit into it, the actual controversy that came up, and I think something that's super just generally interesting, is like the idea of where the line is in commercial like products between pandering and like creating for an audience. Which I think is something that most people that are a part of some of those minority audiences like have to deal with quite a bit. Is this company being sincere, or are they wanting my money? And so what happened in like this Game Grumps situation is first, the Game Grumps sponsored it, and even though they didn't make it, they never said that the Game Grumps weren't making it. Like, it was a game by Game Grumps.
Yeah.
And so their whole audience...
Well, it even has, like, publisher Game Grumps.
Exactly.
And, like,
yeah. And they talked about it on their channels and all this kind of stuff. And then all their fans, knowing the Game Grumps themselves, thought it was going to be satire and not an actual, like, dating sim. I thought it was going to be, like, a joke on a dating sim.
Oh.
And so, like, first, like, foot out the door, people were like, this isn't what I expected. I thought it was going to be a joke. And then, no, it's, like, literally
it's a dating sim.
Yeah, it is a dating sim. You date
It's great. It is
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not, like, satire.
Yeah.
And so, at first, that was kind of, like, the knock where people are like, yeah, feeling kind of fishy about it. And I kind of vibe. Like, I don't think the advertising was false, but I could see how if you watched a public figure and they said they were making this video game, you'd expect the video game to kind of match their, like,
vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, if you told me that you were going to go today and make a game, I'd be like, yeah. And then you're like, here's my really intense shooter. I'd be like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be very confusing.
Yeah.
And so that started, like, to sour people a little bit. And then a little bit after the game release, I think it was a little bit after, two folks that worked in the studio but weren't working on the game. And I'm going to refrain from saying their names. I have it, but it does get, like, a little sensitive.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to speak to that. But a couple of folks actually went and spoke out on how they felt like the game was pandering. They were both...
That worked on the game?
They didn't work on the game. They worked in the studio in the Game Grumps. And so they actually saw the game being made. They played the betas. They worked together and beside the people that were making it. And they came out. They were the only two that came out, but they were both in the LGBTQ plus like group, and the folks that were making it weren't. And
that's surprising.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what I actually found, I'm so proud of myself. I did so much sleuthing
for
this.
Yeah.
I found both deleted Reddit posts that I managed to undelete and read, as well as, like, super old streams on, I think probably Twitch at the time. I don't know. Of one of the folks that came out to
you really
kind of
did
talk
go
about
deep.
it. I did. I really did.
I love it.
I even have, like, screenshots on my phone of this, like, deleted, unedited, like, Reddit post where I'm like, gotta have the receipts. But I, like, dug into this, and I actually think it was really interesting because the person who came out on, like, as against the Dream Daddy thing was actually really nice and respectful about it. I listened to the whole stream where he actually talked about it, and he had a few really good points. I want to talk about with you, like, where you feel like those lines are, because I think it's really interesting. But his main kind of push on the pandering was that he felt that it was exploitation and preying on audiences. And whenever he would give that kind of feedback, they would say, oh, well, we talked to an LGBT person, so, like, whatever, it's good, instead of, like, taking his concern seriously. And then
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and then it seemed like afterwards that they were really being boastful and, like, he said putting themselves on a pedestal for, like, doing this heroic thing for making an LGBTQ plus game. You know, none of this is confirmed, right? This is just he said, she said, he said what. And I think pandering is also a really interesting line for a lot of stuff like this. So I'm curious what you're thinking.
No, it's interesting. It's like, I get that perspective after having played the game. It does seem like, to me, what I saw of the few critical things that I saw, which was actually, like, good. I only read, like, the good ones where people were feeling like, oh, nice, like, I get representation.
Yeah.
And so to hear that it actually wasn't created by people in the LGBTQ plus community, that's disappointing, because I felt like it actually was, as I was playing it, like, a fun and also heartfelt representation. Not perfect, but, like, there was a lot of fun stuff in there that felt really accepting, and it didn't feel pandering to me personally. I just feel like that is a hard line, and I don't feel like I'm qualified to say it is or isn't. But to me, I didn't feel it as I was playing it. But also, we played this after the advertising and after all of the pushes about the game, and the critical reception about the game was coming out, and people were, like, excited about it. So it was kind of like we discovered it on our own in a way. And so then it was like, oh, this is a fun, cute, funny game.
Which it is.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
No, I agree. But yeah, it's just kind of a bummer to hear that it wasn't created by that group.
Yeah. I was really surprised. And I was also surprised at the like conviction from the folks that actually spoke out and said, hey, this didn't really feel good. And at face value, I'm like, okay, everyone I think kind of has a different line for what feels pandering to them, you know? Like, I know for myself, there have been like scenes in movies where I've rolled my eyes. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, seriously? And then other people are like, I loved it. It was amazing. You know?
Yeah.
And so it also feels a little personal. And I feel similar to you that I don't feel like I can draw the line. I can say my own experience, which is that it did feel respectful, but I really don't know. I don't feel like I can draw that line.
I am not a dad dating
No,
other
exactly.
dads.
Yeah, I am not a dream daddy, and so I don't I don't feel like I can make that call. But I do feel like he was super respectful in the way that he gave the opinion, and even like wished the folks luck, the game Grumps luck on like the game, and he hoped that it would do well and that people would connect with it. So he's super respectful about it, but definitely conveyed that he didn't feel really good about its origins. Interesting, because I think when I played it, it felt like when we were talking about, we didn't even know that one of the dads was trans. It was so like he's just a human being. You know what I mean? He's just a hot dad. Like, who cares? You know what I mean?
I'm really interested to see which one it was.
I know.
I'm like very interested.
Yeah, but it was like, I don't know. I've tried not to let that sour how I felt and what I experienced while I played the game, because I still really enjoyed it.
Did you play it after you read all of that?
So I played half, and then I took a break in the middle because I was like, I'm a little overloaded with the game. I'm gonna go and do some research, because I was like, isn't that what podcasts do? They do, you know. And I went and did that, and so I dug into it and then played more afterwards.
Yeah.
I know that choosing an LGBTQ plus game, like, sometimes the comments are just mean, you know? And
I did see some, like, trolling on Metacritic, like, in the user score section.
Yeah.
Just like Rotten Tomatoes has that similar thing for movies.
Yeah, I actually pulled up too some comments from Steam to highlight. Like, I didn't want to stick too long. I actually really like this game. I didn't want to stick too long in the like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. And I did see comments and stuff of people saying that this, you know, it represented them and they felt good. And so that's why pandering is always really interesting to me, because it's like, but somebody saw themselves afterwards.
Totally.
And so even if it was for money, it's still like kind of benefiting the people who wouldn't see them.
And honestly, isn't that expensive of a game?
Yeah, it was only like $15. Is that how much it was?
And it wasn't on sale, and we probably just missed a Steam sale on it.
Yeah, I'm sure. But a lot of the comments were like really nice. And going through like Steam, I think they had I can check really fast, a 91% very positive rating. All the other ratings I saw were pretty positive, like over 80s. So people really enjoyed the game. And a lot of the comments on there were pretty like sweet and funny. Things like, this one is funny, but this game lets me be a far better father than mine ever was.
Oh, I love that though.
So funny, so sad. And then we had folks that were like, it was super heartfelt, and it allowed them to like fill the empty void, which is both funny and sweet. There was like this whole really long review on somebody saying that like, force all the love in your heart that was rudely tossed by actual boys into these dads.
Nice.
The comment ended with the guy texted me back. So,
nice.
Overall, like, very funny, but people also were like, it's very lighthearted, heartwarming, innocent, fun, that has great variety. You're able to relate a lot with the situations and dialogue with fantastic humor and also top quality puns. So there's a lot of good like out of it. A lot of people really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. But I felt like it was worth chatting about, because I have a feeling it'll pop up a little bit with some of these less like AAA general like, video game, you know what I mean? And it was an interesting thing to see pop up so soon.
Yeah I think now I'm going to play like a little jingle, like a shorter version, and then be warned, we're gonna get into spoiler territory. Spoilers. So Yes. I'll use that clip. And if you don't want to hear spoilers or you want to go off and play the game, feel free to do that. And little jingle. We're back. It's been hours.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you made me wait this long.
Okay, so in a more fun light, I wanted to... So we, like I said, we have not talked about this game with each other, and I'm very excited.
I'm so excited.
I think first impressions is where I want to start. Do you have notes on your, like, first impressions?
Yeah, so I can, okay, we didn't talk about this, I promise, but we did make a comment about the very beginning of the game.
Yes, have to.
So when you first, like, open it up, you generally like, graphic sections, you know, that you have to fill out for super high-intensity games, and their graphic section on this one was Dad, Daddy, or Daddiest?
Yes.
Yeah.
For lowest to highest quality graphics.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. When I saw that, I was like, this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think, like, seeing that right out the gate, I think it set the tone really well for the kind of humor that you're going to get. Because it was definitely, like... It wasn't a satire, but it was definitely, like, very lighthearted and fun, and I love that, like, right off the bat.
Yep. My second impression, which I'm curious, title song slaps. Like, it totally slaps. It totally slaps. Good. I'm going to insert a clip of it if I can find it.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to do something to make it play right here. But it is such a good song.
It's so good.
It's a bop.
Yeah, I was so surprised by how good it was. Yeah. Because I feel like usually music and video games, it's, you know, it was whatever. Sometimes they're real good, but this was so good.
Yeah, it was so good. Just the title song. Yeah, so let's talk about character creation.
You go first.
Okay. I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked that it had all the different body types to choose from. And I'm interested to hear what yours was. But my dad was a buff dad. And because I wanted to be hot. I was like, I want to be hot. I want to be a hot dad. And I gave him a nose ring like a cool guy.
Oh, mine also had a nose ring because, of course.
And I had to pick the curly hair. There's only like one like big afro curly hair type.
I think I did the long curly hair one.
It was like more wavy though.
It was wavy. Yeah.
And I have curly hair, and so in games, if there's character creation, I always choose the hair with the curliest hair.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I always make mine with pink hair if I can.
Nice. Yeah. And I picked the cat t-shirt because it was the best t-shirt.
I think I also picked the cat t-shirt. Crap. Okay, so I didn't actually. I picked one of the, like, the thinnest dad bod, I think. I made them all, like, noodly. It's like vibe. I love it. I think the biggest thing was, like, I wanted to be hotter. I feel like the dads in the game, this is so weird to say,
They're hot.
Like,
they were so hot.
They were so hot.
Yeah, they were...
Yeah, and like
every single one.
When I look at my character, I was like, I am not to this level. I am like batting.
Well, that's why I was
up.
Trying to make. Yeah,
but I feel like the eyes were the piece that were missing for me. There weren't a lot of sexy
I thought it was
eyes.
the noses were not great.
That's fair. That's fair. And there were a lot of Dragon Ball Z references. Did you notice that?
I did not.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
They had Dragon Ball Z eyes, and then they had like the hair, the Goku hair.
I noticed the Goku hair because I almost picked it.
Yeah, they had multiple Dragon Ball Z. Like, I'm pretty sure you probably could have made one of the like, Dragon Ball Z
Goku.
characters.
You probably could have made Goku.
Yeah. Which is kind of hilarious. But I really wish that I could have been hotter. And I think I loved the variety that you could pick, and I ended up picking. I ended up making two different daddies because the second time I played, I made a second daddy. And so the first time I went, with like the long hair and like the nose ring, such a vibe. And then I think the next time around I did like a man bun because again, I just like the man buns. I don't know. But I just wanted to be hotter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good feedback. Yeah. Good feedback.
Yeah, we should message them.
We should message them.
Hi, could you please make me hotter? Thank you.
Once we get into the game, I kind of, like, my first thing that I jumped into was a Pokemon battle.
Oh, yeah, all the mini games.
Well, it was the first thing, so I went to the park or whatever, and then you run into competitive dad, Brian.
Yeah.
And then it jumped you into a Pokemon game. And so I thought, this is a Pokemon game. I legit thought
You didn't collect it?
Yes, I was like, this is amazing. Because okay, so for people, if you have not played it, essentially you go to the park and there's a competitive, quote unquote, competitive dad, Brian, there. And he has like thrown a toy for his dog, and you run into him and he's like, oh, this is my daughter, Daisy. She's like a genius and the best ever. Oh. And then you're like, well, my daughter is also great. And then it does the like, and you do a Pokemon battle. And I thought, oh, I'm going to be like dating dads in like Pokemon game style and like doing like dad offs with them.
That's amazing.
I'm
kind of disappointed that's not what it was.
Well, because you had been saying like, I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No. I was just like, wow, this is so different than what I thought it was going to be. In the first one, you can pick different items. Mm-hmm. And I chose Band-Aid because I was like, I don't know what this is. Did you do that?
I also chose Band-Aid, yeah.
And then it's like you put a Band-Aid on your daughter. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It's not impressive at all.
I was actually really impressed by all the really witty comedy that they had in the writing. It was so funny.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And then I lost it. I
lost.
I think that's an impossible one to win.
I wonder. I did do some investigation later. I want to talk about like all the different endings and stuff. You don't have to get too much spoiler, but
I played every dad's ending.
I did not play every dad's ending, but did you play the secret ending?
I didn't. I saw it online though, and I want to talk about it later when we get to the endings.
Okay. But I also, when I jumped in the Pokemon battle, I don't know what I anticipated or expected, but like for the folks who haven't played, it really is just a visual novel.
Yes.
Like it really is.
Point and click. Yeah. You choose things.
A lot of dialogue. You pick the right thing, hopefully. If you do, you get eggplants.
I wanted to talk about that too. I have that in my notes. It's like, I think it is quite great that when you select, so whenever you are about to say something that is an option, like that you get to select, there's a bad thing, and it has, like, if you answer in the way that the other dad doesn't like, it's like black clouds. If you answer in a way that they like but don't love, it's like little hearts. But then if you answer in a way that they love, it's like an explosion of eggplant and water. The squirt emoji. Yeah, that was great.
It was so
I thought that was a great touch, and it had the little like bling sound. Yeah, that was great.
What was your first impression of Brian after meeting that daddy?
Did not like him because I lost that Pokemon battle.
Was that why?
And I was salty about it. Did not like him. And then I think the other dad that you meet is the youth pastor dad, so Joseph. And then you meet Matt in the coffee shop.
Yeah, the coffee
And
man.
out of those three, those are the first ones you meet before you do the barbecue, where you meet all of them. And you also meet the friend from college. I believe. Craig. Yeah. And out of all of those, I was like, I'm kind of feeling Craig. The youth pastor guy is like really preppy, not my style. Matt was also like kind of interesting. The coffee shop guy, I was like, okay, maybe. And then, Brian was all the way at the bottom for me.
But I think my first impression of the daddies, one, they were all hot. So that was very exciting. I was drawn to Matt first, because I
feel that for you.
I like that he was a business owner and he seemed sweet, and I also was not down with competitive daddy. I was like, all of our daughters can be good. And so I wasn't down with Brian, but I really liked Matt, and Matt was the one that I wanted to pursue first. But this podcast is about to learn way too much about me, but like, I kind of wanted to go for Joseph, not for the preppiness, but for the impossible to graspness, because he's married.
I ranked them after we meet all of them.
Oh, okay.
And I do have a note that Joseph is surprisingly high in my rank. Knowing how I feel about religion and like my personal taste, but I was like, kind of. Yeah. Okay, so should we do after?
Let's do an overview of the daddies that we meet at the thing. Yeah, let's
go for it.
We already talked about Matt, Coffee Dad, Craig, the best friend. He's super sporty.
Yeah. Buff. Works out
really
all the time.
Good parent, has some cute kids, always attached to him, very adorable. And then the ones that we meet like after we actually get to the barbecue, which we're invited to by Joseph, I think.
Yeah.
And to Joseph's like barbecue, we're going to go hang out
Joseph
with
is
the
the
dads.
youth pastor dad.
Yeah, the youth pastor dad. We meet Hugo, who's the teacher dad. Damien, the goth dad. And then, actually, we meet Robert before then.
Oh, that's right. In the coffee shop.
The bad dad. The baddie daddy.
Baddie daddy.
Oh, wait. So I have a really serious question to ask you.
Okay.
Did you or did you not go home
That's right.
with Robert?
I didn't. I was too nervous. Did you?
I did.
Scandalous.
Well, okay, so it's a dating sim,
Yeah.
right? And so I was like, it's a dating sim. I thought that I
didn't want to give it up until I knew all the dads.
Okay,
I
well,
was like, I'm picky.
I thought the whole like point was I was gonna go like bork all these hot dads. Like that was my goal. And so of course the first dad asked me, and I'm like, yeah, it's time to start. Like let's do it. And so I was ready. I was like, yeah, let's go. Which I regretted later for reasons that we can talk about later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not, because I was like, well, I'm not gonna just go home with anyone. I gotta meet all the dads first before I choose.
That's a good choice.
Um,
Don't take my path.
or do. Be spicy.
Yeah.
So we go to this barbecue in the game, and then we meet all the dads. After we meet all the dads, what were your impressions?
So I think I actually think I moved Joseph up to number 1 at that point. And listen, I have a background that's very religious. I'm not religious anymore. And I just liked the idea of pulling this man away from his seemingly evil wife. And which he was married. Again, I made mistakes during my first playthrough. That's fine. I was living my life. But
I'm so interested in how different. Because I also, before I picked a third date, I went on 2 dates with every single dad.
So I was planning on doing that, and then I was like, no, I want to push it to the end. I did go on a full like dad speed run and then reloaded and did the rest after that. But I actually ended up moving Joseph up to my number 1, but I still left Matt up there. And I actually really couldn't get down with Craig because he only talked about sports.
Yeah.
And so during the picnic, I was like,
he was really hot.
Well, he was hot, and I really did dig the like actual daddy vibe. Like all the other ones, for folks who haven't played, like the kids are around a lot of the game and play a big part in the story. Like your daughter Amanda plays a huge role in the story.
It's actually more about your relationship with your daughter, I would say, in a way.
Yeah, the Trojan horse meaning, they definitely did that. And so the kids are around all the time, but Craig has the baby actually like attached and strapped to like the front of him, and I did really dig that vibe. I just couldn't get over how much he wanted to talk about sports, and I was just like, these dates are going to be so boring. I don't want to do that. And so he was actually the last one that I ran through.
Oh, wow. Okay, so my ranking after I met them all and went on 1 date with them each.
Oh, this is after one date.
This is after one date.
Exciting. Okay.
Yeah, Hugo was my top. I don't know. I like the teacher vibes. I don't know, again, too much about me, but
is it that authority, Maddie?
The teacher vibes. I was like, I'm in it. And then I also really liked Goth Dad.
Goth Dad.
Damien.
Yeah, I slept on him early. Yeah,
he's my boy, because I like weirdos, and he's a big weirdo.
Super weird. Love it.
And then I have Joseph, and I was like, I'm surprised I'm putting him this high. I even like wrote that in my notes, like surprised that I'm as into him as I am. Yeah. Because I liked the danger of it.
Right? Yeah.
Because he is married.
Yeah, he's married. And it was...
And his wife does kind of suck. And he's kind of, like, he's kind of the sexiest.
Do you
know what I mean?
To be
they
the typical sexy one. I think.
Like, he's, like, kind of the way he talks to you and stuff is so smooth and so kind of, like, sexy.
Yeah. He had the right words a lot of the time. I was actually really surprised. Except, did you hear his catchphrase? No. One of their catchphrases are really funny. And I didn't mention that the game Grumps actually voice the catchphrases. But his catchphrase is Cracker Barrel. And I think that's what won me over. It's like, Cracker Barrel.
No way. Okay, I have a confession. I thought the background music was so annoying. I played the entire game on mute.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I missed all of that.
We are going to go into a little section around voice acting then later because it's really, really funny. There are so many funny
I didn't know there was like legit voice acting. Yeah. No.
They're like the scripts aren't read. like, it's not like voice acting where I would sit here and read the dialogue. It's like they have little blips that they say every once in a while, like to
Well, so I noticed
feeling.
that at the beginning, and it was kind of annoying to me. Because it was the blips.
Yeah.
And it was annoying. And then also, like, the title song is so good.
Yeah.
And then you jump into it, and it's this really, like, repetitive, annoying, like, do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. And it was driving me nuts.
Yeah,
and so,
even you saying that right now is giving me flashbacks.
Yeah. And so I muted it and just listened to my own music. And it's funny because I was actually going to recommend playing it that way, but I don't know if I would recommend playing it that way anymore.
Well, like, I mean, I don't think the voice acting added much. The reason...
But Cracker Barrel, like, I missed an iconic line.
Yeah,
Cracker
it's
Barrel.
So funny. And, like, maybe he didn't say Cracker Barrel. Maybe he said, oh, Cracker. I don't know. I wrote down Cracker Barrel because that's what I thought he said, and it was so funny. But then there was also voice lines like, I can't remember. I think it was Hugo. Hugo's, like, line was, Sweet Manchego.
What?
All of it was so weird. The lines were so weird. And then, did you ever meet, like, the quiz master?
Yes.
So the quiz master's thing was, I'm so sad.
Oh, no. I mean, I got that vibe from his, like, dialogue, but I didn't hear. Okay, I need to, like, do, like a speed run.
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
It didn't add, like, a ton to the game, and I will admit that I did think that the repetitive music was very repetitive.
Yeah.
But getting the catchphrases...
that's great.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Should I finish my list?
Oh, yeah.
So then I have, like, Craig and Matt interchangeable, like, in the middle.
Yeah.
Then I have Brian, and then actually Robert was my last because he was really, like, into himself, and I'm not into that. He was, like, very conceited.
Yeah.
But my other thoughts kind of in the middle of the game, Amanda was kind of a turd. Yes?
She was annoying, but going through a lot.
No, she was, but like I have like a voice note that I made where I was like, I'm really struggling because I was doing the playthrough trying to be a good dad. Like I was genuinely trying to be a good dad. And so it's like, I know that I shouldn't push her, but she's being a turd.
She was.
So I didn't push her. I did the not pushing her, and I did get the good ending.
Oh,
so,
I was going to ask you. Yeah.
I don't know, like, I know there is a bad ending because the achievements say there's, like, a bad ending, but I got the good one. So I was a good dad, but it was a struggle.
Mm-hmm. So the first time I played through, I also got the good dad ending, but I did go through and force a bad dad ending so I could see it. It was very depressing.
Okay.
But I think my biggest thing with her, and maybe this is a little bit of the writing, is I thought they did a good job capturing, like, the drama that feels monumental.
Her friends
when
also
you're a kid.
really suck.
Yeah, and I love that they named them, like, half of them Emma or something.
Yeah.
So that you felt like a dad that was confused about all the people you didn't know about.
Well, and then, like, how your conversation with her in some of those went is you had to say the right one.
Yeah, I messed up, like, half the time. Yeah.
And then she gets better.
Yeah.
After she tells you. Did you hear, like, did she tell you?
Yeah, she eventually told me.
For those who haven't played, like, in the game, you're talking with your daughter and you know that something is wrong the whole time. Mm-hmm. She's, like, crying in her room and being
very
upset.
Moody teen.
Being moody, being rude to you. But you know it's not about you. I guess her friend started dating the guy she has a crush on. Mm-hmm. And then her other friend... What did her other friend do?
And
then they all started, like, hanging out without her.
Yeah, they ditched her. They, like, made plans, and she said, hey, are we doing a thing? And they're like, no, we can't. And then she found him at the mall, and they were all hanging out without her, which I would be devastated, to be fair.
Yeah, that's really mean. So after that, I didn't hear any more about the friends. Did you? Like, after she spilled her guts to me about, like, what was happening, and then I was a good dad, and I gave advice, and I think the advice I picked was, like, people who are your real friends don't treat you like that.
Yeah, I think I did that one too.
But then at the end, in the good ending, she's like, I'm going to go hang out with Emma. I was like, what? I thought y'all were like...
I think I missed that. I don't remember them bringing it back up, but I think that's actually one of my more critical pieces about the game is that it felt really strong. Like the first, I want to say like 2/3, where I was like, wow, this is really engaging. There's a lot of fun things. And like the story was, I felt like pretty in depth. Like they had a lot of content to it.
Yeah.
But I felt like it needed to go on almost twice as long as what it was. And I'm usually the kind of person who likes shorter games, and I still played this game for, I want to say, like 9 or 10 hours. Like I
think I clocked it like 12.
Yeah, and like I didn't do all the endings, so I think that maps out. So I I played it a good amount of time. It's not like it was a super short game. It's just I wanted more dates with the dads. You only get 3. I wanted so many more dates with the dads.
And the third date is like the end game.
It's the end. Yeah. And so I was a little disappointed that it was only 3. And then like similarly with the story with Amanda and her whole thing is that it felt very front loaded. And then once you hit like that peak, it's just kind of done. Like it just fizzles a little bit. And I even though I enjoyed it, I will say that I was a little disappointed. And I think that was about the time that I had stopped to go do the research because it had fizzled at that point and I was kind of feeling less engaged.
Like you finished a playthrough.
Yeah, and I was feeling less engaged. I was like, oh, okay. And
so you did the playthrough with Joseph first?
Yes, I did the playthrough with Joseph and then I did the research and then I went back and did the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, except for Craig and Brian, who I never finished.
Okay. That's totally fair. I think I played it differently, so I didn't feel that it was too short because I played it.
You did all of them.
I did all of them. I did 2 dates with each of the dads before I picked any of them to go on the third date with. Because when you choose to go on a third date, like this is what tipped me off to it. It has a warning and it's like, hey, like third dates get pretty serious or whatever. And then you know it's end game.
I tried. So like I did 2 dates with Matt and I did 2 dates with Joseph. And then I tried to do 2 dates with Robert, but it wouldn't let me because I slept with him.
Oh, so you can't go on a date with him?
You can ask him to go on a date, and then like one of the dates he just ignores you and then asks you to hook up later. And then the other day, like he invites you over like after hours of waiting. Like literally they do like a whole day like clock through before he texts you back. And then at the end you argue about like, hey, could we be anything more than just like a side piece thing? And he's like, no. Pretty much. Like I don't remember the exact words, but you get like super rejected. And so I did 2 dates, quote unquote, with Robert and 2 dates with Matt.
Could you even pick a third one with him?
Like I mean I'm sure you could, but you'd probably just like fail out again.
I'm interested what that ending would be.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I do probably have a save state with that, so it'd be probably easy to get to, but I didn't go that far. And that was the reason that I restarted later, was because I wanted to get Robert's other stuff because I had read online that his stuff was like cute. Yeah. And so I wanted to actually play through his stuff, and I didn't realize that I had totally like messed up my chances with him at the beginning. Yeah. So that was interesting. Yeah. And so I did do a couple of 2 dates, but 2 of them were Robert. They were like barely anything. And then, so I pretty much did Matt and Joseph, and then I played through. So the first playthrough was really short.
Yeah. I did. So the people that I picked, I picked Hugo to finish first. And his is really cute.
Yeah,
did you play his all the way through?
Yeah, I ended up playing his all the way through. His secret's super cute.
Yeah, the wrestling. Yeah. So after the second date, you find out that he likes wrestling. And so he's like a hot teacher and he likes wrestling, and he's got this like kid that is, you know, not great and he's struggling with him, and I don't know, I just really felt for it. So I finished with Hugo first, and then Damien, and then I did Joseph as well. So I did those 3, like the top 3 that I had, and then I did Matt, and then Craig, and then Robert, and Brian was the last one that I played through. Yeah. After the 2 dates.
Wait, before you say favorites and least favorites, I do want to know, Mary, I don't know if we're swearing on this podcast yet, so F or kill.
Well, you already said fuck and kill.
Oh, crap!
You did. You did earlier.
We can leave it on editing.
Okay, yeah.
So which one would you marry? Which one would you date intimately? And then which one would you kill?
Okay, so marry Hugo, Damien. Actually, Damien. Damien's my weirdo. I'm going to marry Damien. And then F, I'm going to... I feel like it has to be Joseph. I'm sorry. He was so sexy. Like, his like, third date is sexy.
Yeah, it's sexy. Yeah. Well, his second date is sexy. He takes you to Margaritaville. Like, it's so cute. Yeah. We'll talk about that later. I want to talk more about that.
Yeah. And then, I guess, kill Brian. Poor Brian.
I feel like our rankings are actually pretty similar. Yeah. I would 100% marry Damien. I'm really sad that I slept on him, and then he ended up being so good. Yeah. Because he was one of the like last ones that I dated. But I would definitely marry Damien. I would date intimately Robert, I think.
Yeah, he's hot.
And then I like the baddies. I do like it. And then I think I would kill Brian. It was a toss-up between killing Brian and killing Joseph because I was really mad about Joseph's ending.
Yeah.
Kind of like...
Let's talk about Joseph's storyline because I also have notes about his wife.
Okay, yeah, let's do that because that also ties into the secret ending, which is really interesting.
And I've only read about it, but if you played it, I want more.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joseph is the youth pastor dad.
Married youth
pastor dad. And the first date is pretty cute. You're like making brownies or something. And
with his creepy twins. They're
so
creepy.
And then the second date, you help him with a like youth ball. I don't dance. Ball. He threw a ball.
What kind of
Sorry, my head is in Bridgerton right now. Like a ball. No, he throws like a youth group dance. And then I did like that they hung the sign, Jesus is coming. With the U.
With the U. Well, I thought what was so funny is I didn't get this because they gave you options to edit the sign. And it's like, Jesus is like calming.
That's the one that I chose.
Yeah, the one that they want you to pick. I don't remember what the other ones
you didn't pick that one? What'd you pick?
Oh, they had Jesus is cumin.
Oh, yeah. Cumin.
It's so funny. But I didn't know, apparently, if you don't pick like Jesus is calming, then they make fun of you for not just suggesting Jesus is coming with like an O. They just make fun of you. They're like, you didn't realize that, but it's literally not an option.
That's funny. It's not an option.
Yeah.
It's not an option. And then he like takes you and like sneaks you off into this little area that he built for you. And it's Margaritaville.
So cute.
And it's very cute. And you have margaritas and there's lots of tension.
And then so much oh my God, it was so sexy.
Yeah. So much tension. And then he's like, I better get back or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah. I was like, oh, I kind of want to see what happens here. And then the other part of it is, did you get much of the wife storyline? Because I got more of it because I played 2 dates per. And she mixes in with the other people. Like, she's really good friends with Robert.
Yeah.
And so you get a little bit of the wife. Because at first, like, your first interaction with Joseph's wife is actually at the bar.
Right. Yeah.
And she's hitting on you. And it's, like, a thing throughout that she cheats on Joseph all the time, right? Like, she's, like, always at the bar, like, preying on young men. That's the joke.
On hot daddies.
Well, but it's also like they make sure to say like a young man.
Yeah. I didn't actually get much of her story. So like because I played through just Matt and I didn't really get Robert, I got none of her story except for from the lens of someone who is like trying to be with her husband. And so she was nothing but like mean and snarky to me. And when I finished it and like I didn't really feel that bad, I was like, whatever, she's mean. And then when I went through and played the other ones, I was like, oh, I suck.
But she still does kind of suck. Like the whole thing, even when you're hanging out, like she becomes cooler, actually. Like I was like, can I date her? I don't know. Like, can I do that? Because you do the date with Robert. Like if you do 2 dates with Robert, you meet her and hang out with her and she's like cool.
Yeah.
And then if you do the final date with Damien,
that's where
you learn that she's like really good friends with Damien.
Yeah.
And she's really cool. And I was like, I wish there was a storyline where you like break up with Joseph and run away with her.
I can't remember whose storyline it was. Maybe Damien's. Yeah, it was the final one where you go track down the dog.
Yeah.
And in that one, the map that you use was written by Mary, and it was so cute. Like the map had nicknames for all of the dads.
Yes.
And so like Craig's nickname was like Kale, which was so funny. It's like, this is Kale.
She's so funny.
Yeah, it was so funny. And then like it had you're the nerd dad, but then there was an other nerd and you get complimented.
Who was the other nerd? Was it Hugo?
It was Hugo.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you get like complimented that at least you're better than like the other nerd. Because you got nerd, you got first status.
Yeah.
And so I think after seeing Damien's line, I was like, she's just cool and funny. And then I felt like a jerk at that point. And she wasn't like, she's not a super nice person. Like she's not a bubbly, like I'm going to be the nicest person you ever meet. But she was cool and funny and definitely didn't deserve for me to try and date her husband. So I feel bad about that.
Yeah. And do you want to talk about Joseph's third date? It was like the sexiest one. Like he takes you on a yacht. You guys get stranded on the yacht.
You're like stuck on the yacht and like
yeah.
Yeah.
And then y'all like Bang. And a lot of them aren't actually, like, explicit, but that one was the most explicit.
Yeah, it was, like, the only, other than the, like, when I hooked up with Robert at the very beginning, if you would have not went home from him, that was, like, the only time.
Is it explicit? Like, the Robert hooking up at the beginning?
Like, when you go home with him, they actually do, like, you are home with him, and you have, like, a little conversation, and they talk about, like, borking. Like, you know that that's what you're doing. But they didn't, like, it wasn't super explicit. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
well, because, like, with Joseph, it's like, he's kissing your neck, and,
it
like,
wasn't like that. Yeah, it was not that explicit.
Yeah. And it's like supposedly a great evening.
Yeah.
And then should we get to the ending with it? Like, spoiler.
Yeah.
And then at the very ending, I was so disappointed because I was like, okay, so he's gonna, like, break up with his wife and get with
the dream.
me.
Yeah.
And I had the good Amanda ending, so I'm curious what the bad one was. But the good one is you throw a graduation party for her. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the graduation party, whoever you're with, this was, like, the pattern, they'd be, like, sitting under a cherry blossom tree and you'd go join them and, like, hang out with them. But for Joseph's, he's like, me and my wife are going to try to work it out. Bye.
Yeah. Apparently that's the good ending. That is the good ending with Joseph. You cannot get a better ending than I'm going to go back with my wife, be my side piece.
Wow.
Yeah, that is the best ending for Joseph, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. There's no way to get him to break up with his wife for you. The bad Amanda ending actually didn't ruin any or change anything with the dads. So when you do the bad Amanda ending, the only difference is, like, at the end in the graduation party, you still throw it, but she is real, like, she gives you kind of a talking to, pretty much, to say that, like, hey, if you push me away now, then I'm not really gonna want to hang around with you when I go to college.
How do you get to the bad Amanda ending?
There are a few, like, key moments with Amanda you have to F up in order to get the bad ending.
So she just is like...
She's pretty much just, like, super disappointed. I'm not going to talk to you again after I go to college, pretty much. Like, she's mad, but she doesn't do it in a way that says, like, you're going to go on to just no mother-in-law, never, it's not that I hate my parent and I'm never going to talk to them again, as much as it is, like, you're pushing me away and you're really close to me, like, not wanting to hang out with you anymore and be your daughter, pretty much.
Brutal.
It actually doesn't impact any of your relationship with the dads. They don't say anything about it. It's very siloed.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. I mean, I guess that, like, from a visual novel, like, story branching perspective, that's probably just easier.
Yeah. I would imagine it would be pretty tough to write, like, the dads also, if you had a really good date and were doing everything really well, but you were not doing a super hot way, like, relationship with your daughter, how do you respond and react to that? That's just a whole second branch, pretty much.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay, should we get to the, like, final, like, ending, like, rankings?
So before we do, I want to button up Joseph because he's the secret ending.
Yeah, tell me about the secret ending.
So I found these super old forums of the inception of people trying to figure out what the secret ending was, because in a lot of the dating sims they have secret endings.
Yeah.
And you have to have
actually didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
Is that
other
like
ones
a key
do.
Theme?
Yeah,
okay.
Not all of them, but other ones definitely do. The ending that was secret, like, everyone was like, there has to be a secret ending, and there was really no proof. Apparently, the files for the secret ending were hidden. Did you see that? They were hidden inside of, like, the shipped game, but no one could figure out how to trigger it. But they were sitting there. They were, like, the files were there. So eventually, they come out with an update to the game, and then with the update to the game, they also updated the secret files so that they would continue working and didn't break. So it wasn't, like, just a quick update. They actually updated the files to make sure they kept working. So everyone was like, no, this is real. They would not spend the dev hours to update these old junky files if they weren't still supposed to be used. But the way you actually trigger it is by creating, during the character creation phase, a very specific combination. It's pretty much like a chubby Hawaiian, like, shirt dad, and you name him Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, you have to name him Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, like Margaritaville. Yeah. And so you have to name him Jimmy Buffett. And then when you do, this super dark, creepy music starts, and they're like, are you sure you want to do that? Pretty much.
What?
Yeah, it's super intense.
I gotta play it. That's so fun.
I saw the instructions. It's really interesting. But it lets you, if you've already played through the whole game, it lets you skip to, like, the third date with Joseph so that you don't have to do everything. And so then when you get booted, it takes you to the yacht date. Everything is, like, as per usual. And then after you, like, go to bed at night after intimate relations, I believe that's what it was, you wake up in a cell in like a dungeon.
Amazing.
There's a lot of like kinky dad jokes.
Yeah.
It's very funny. And then he comes out as a cult leader. Like Joseph is a cult leader.
Not surprising.
And no, it's so funny. I highlighted this text that is just hilarious of like his speech explaining to you what's happening, because you're kind of like, hey, yo, I might be into this, but maybe not like right now. What are you doing? And he says, "Nothing is a coincidence, idiot. No town in America has such a concentration of eligible, willing dads." It's this whole conspiracy where he is the reason that there's so many like bachelors there that are hot that have like dead wives is because apparently Joseph is just like killing them and like doing all this stuff to make sure he gets all these hot dads. Like he had this overall master plan, like to have this cult, I don't know, of hot dads, I guess. But he had this like super secret plan. That's why there's so many hot dads in this one cul-de-sac. And then my very favorite line, "All along you've been living a dream, daddy."
A dream daddy.
But he definitely
A+.
He definitely was very evil. He was the one killing the wives. So like implies that he killed the wives to get people to like move in. And he was pretty much like, if you don't participate, then this house will be empty and I'll find another hot dad to like take your place. So it's actually like pretty dark.
That is dark.
Yeah, and they did warn you in the message before you jumped into the final ending that they said it was not canon. And I'm assuming it's because it totally kills the like cute, heartwarmy vibe of the rest of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I gotta play it. I'm gonna play it now.
Yeah. And then you meet like at the end an officer, and I was like, ooh, is this gonna be a new daddy? Did I unlock a new daddy? I did not, which I'm a little disappointed in.
That's a bummer.
But
was he also hot though?
He was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very, very good. Very upsetting. I don't know. I really enjoyed the secret ending.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I hunted down to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play that after.
You should.
How do we want to talk ending, like impressions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after I played all of the endings, my faves remained Hugo and Damien. Mm-hmm. I could not choose between the two of those because Damien's story was so cute. Mm-hmm. Oh wait, which one was the trans dad?
Damien.
No way!
Yeah,
I didn't catch that.
There was one very specific option you had to pick and one very specific scene. But yeah it's Damien.
Yeah. Okay. That's fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Hugo and Damien were my faves, and then my least favorite became Joseph because boo on him. He didn't want to date me. I know, rejected. And then the people that I have noted that are better than I thought were Brian and Robert. So Brian's ending was better than I thought, like cuter than I thought it would be.
Can you tell me what the ending was? Because I didn't actually play it.
So you go on the third date, and essentially your daughters like force you into a Ferris wheel together.
Okay.
They're like under the guise of, oh, let's all four go into the Ferris wheel, and then they don't get on, and they close the door and whatever, and they're like, y'all should hang out, and like, because y'all would get along, because they start getting along. They're like, oh, our dads are really similar. And then you start talking, and you realize how much you have in common, and then it actually gets cute. You get stuck, you work out your issues, and then you watch fireworks, and then you're like, wait, was this jealousy that I was feeling? Like,
was it
actually, yes. No, it's like, I actually like think it was not jealousy. I think it was like romantic feelings.
Yeah. Your heart's beating really fast, and it gets misplaced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you make out, and in the very ending, you have like a compliment competition. And it's really cute because then it's like,
so
instead of like competing, it's like a compliment competition where they're like, I love this about you. Well, I love this about you. Well, I love this about you. It was very cute.
That is so... Okay, I'm going to have to go finish that one out.
It ended up so much cuter than I thought it would be, because he was my last playthrough because I found him the least interesting, which is a bummer because I wish that in the options you could have gone down that path a little bit more. Because like in the second date, you start getting hints of like, wow, you're being kind of intensely competitive.
Yeah.
But all of the options are intensely competitive, so you can't back off that vibe.
Yeah.
I wish there was options where you could start to back off the vibe in the second date.
Yeah. I think that's why I never went on the third date, is because at the end of the second date, I was like, I'm still not feeling it.
Yeah. Which is totally fair. And then, Robert's was a cute ending. I like his dog.
It's cute. Yeah.
Boston. That was cute.
He was just, I think I have a soft spot.
But his was also kind of a bittersweet ending because
Yeah.
even at the end, he's like, I can't date you because I have to work out my own issues, which is totally...
Which is reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if I had... So, like, I didn't finish Brian, and I didn't finish Craig. Although, I got, like, halfway through Craig's
Craig's
final
was fine.
date. I think I stopped it because it was late that day, and then I just never picked it back up.
Yeah.
Which is why I never got around to finishing the last couple.
Matt's was also cute. I will say that Matt's was also cute.
So
Yeah.
I think my final ranking was I would put Damien at the top. And then I actually really liked Matt's. And then I liked Robert's next, actually, because I thought, regardless of the, like, kind of sad, bittersweet ending, I thought he was the dad that you got to know the most. You got to know the most about him. You, other than, like, Damien, I know you got a little bit too, but you really unraveled his exterior. And I know that that's kind of the allure of the bad boy, right? Like, they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But I was definitely, like, they sold me. It's fine. So I would definitely put him next. And then in that, like, middle bucket is the Craig, the Brian, the, you know, that I didn't really get. Like, I guess Hugo was next, but then the Craig, the Brian, whatever. And then Joseph is definitely dead last.
Yeah.
I think that it's a little sad that I ended up putting him last, if only because I really enjoyed the dates themselves. Like the second Margaritaville date, I actually really, really liked him. I thought it was really sweet. And I thought that he was the one who had the most, like, chemistry. But really, at the end of it, I mean, he's a cult leader, and he dumps you. He says that he's serious, but he dumps you for his wife.
Dumps you, and he also, like, you start to get hints from other storylines that he's kind of a fuckboy.
Yeah, Robert kind of does that. Yeah. And so I'm not upset about putting him last, but there is definitely some stuff in there I really liked. And I think if I had to pick between Craig and Brian, I'd put Craig above Brian. But the only reason that I kind of soured towards Craig's storyline, which ended up being better than I thought, was his second date where you have to, like, find stuff in the park. I couldn't do it. I failed.
I had to look it up.
I literally couldn't figure out how to do it, and the save point that I had was, like, super far back.
Oh.
And so I couldn't redo it. And after that, I started saving a lot more.
Yeah.
But I couldn't redo it without redoing, like, his first date also.
Because then you don't go to brunch and then you don't do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was just, like, a bummer. And so
I failed the first one, and I tried again, and I couldn't get it
Yeah.
in time. And then I, like, looked up a hint.
Yeah. And see, maybe if it would have been so late, I would have pushed through and redid it. But I was just like, no. And so it was kind of a bummer. But apparently you can, like, die on Craig's date.
Wait, the camping one?
The one with a waterfall.
Yeah, that's a camping one.
Yeah, you can die on that date.
No
You can
way.
also die on Joseph's second date. Yeah. They have, like, little sprinkles of, like, you can literally just die. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, on the
On the waterfall one, how would you die?
when you do the cannonball,
Yeah.
you can do it again and again and again, and if you do it enough times, you just, like, die.
I did it, like, 5 times.
Okay, well, you probably, like, borderline
I was
it.
probably one cannonball away from dying.
You were probably very borderline, yeah.
Because I was surprised that it was still like, and again, and again. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, you
And
were gonna
again.
die. Yeah. So I'm glad that you, like, gave up at some point, but you definitely would have died.
I think I legit did like 5. I wonder if it's 6.
I don't remember the number. I
gonna
just
look
know
it
that
up.
you do. And then the
Look it
one
up.
that you can die on Joseph's date is when you're doing the, like, dirty dancing scene. Like, when they want you to dance inside of the ball. That one is also a possible death scene because you could be dropped. I think there might be other ones.
Really?
Yeah. But, yeah, the cannonball, it's a whole achievement and everything.
You can also die on the 3rd date with Brian in the Ferris wheel.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
You can choose be an ass and throw a punch at Brian. And then you miss and you fall out of the Ferris wheel.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I love it. I love it so much.
My last thoughts as my body lays broken and bloody and supine on the floor of the fairgrounds are my daughter. Who will care for her? What kind of woman will she be? I hope she can be spared the sight of my mangled corpse. These are things I will never know. All thanks to the folly of pride. Holy moly.
We were taught a lesson today.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great.
I'm surprised you didn't find that. If you were digging around in secret endings, I would have assumed you had been digging in the stuff.
I was trying not to dig too much because I kind of wanted to be like surprised by your digging.
Okay.
But I just saw, because I had looked up, I wanted to learn more about Mary. Because you get little bits and pieces, and I was like, is there like a thing I can do to like learn more? Like, I was trying to date Mary. Like, I literally was trying to date Mary. I was like, how do I like talk to her?
Where is this inclusivity?
And then I saw that Joseph had like an alternate ending or like a secret ending. But yeah, like overall, I thought the game was fun. Like, this is my first dating sim. So I'm well, I guess visual novel dating sim.
Yeah, I think it's actually really interesting.
Oh, wait, last thought.
Oh.
Sorry, last thought. The mini games were really annoying.
Oh, they were so bad.
Okay. Last thought.
I think the Pokemon one was actually the only one that was good.
Really good.
Yeah, the rest of them were so bad. One of them was super buggy too. And what was the mini golf game? I still don't know. Like, I have actually read some game design stuff on people who just force mini games into stuff to like mix up the gameplay. And so
it did feel forced.
But no, this one was really interesting because I was thinking about it as a dating sim in my head. And the other dating sim that I have played primarily was How to Fool Boyfriend. And I did feel like
I need to buy that one?
I really liked it. It's so funny. You date pigeons.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're a human.
Oh, you're human. You aren't a pigeon. Oh, that's weird.
It's so weird.
That's kind of weird.
It's so weird. But I played it when it was on Game Pass.
It was on Game Pass?
It was on Game Pass a long time ago, like right when we first launched.
No
way. And so it was on Game Pass, and I played it. How do you
spell that?
Hato, Hatoful, yeah. And so I played it then for free, and I would definitely play it for free, but I really enjoyed it. But that was the first one I did, and I will say that this one felt pretty similar to it, and it was with the inspiration for it, so it felt really similar to it. The thing that I thought was interesting and missing, and I read a little bit about it, and it was a part of the documentary where the devs building it kind of had this criticism too, is usually in dating sims, they're a lot more stats based. So you need to be like cute enough or smart enough or whatever to date the person. And in order for it to be successful, it's not just like clicking dialogue prompts.
Oh, it's like you during character creation, you like bucket yourself.
It's like through the whole game. And so there are different ways to like bump up your stats. Like you can stay and study, or you can do whatever else.
I see.
And so dating sims are generally like the sim part. It's a lot more of like the stats, figuring out strategies for how to get this person to like you. And so this one didn't really feel like a dating sim in that sense, because it was very much so just like visual novel, click the answers, and you do have good and bad ones, but it's kind of impossible to tell what's good and what's bad.
Yeah. Now I want to play this pigeon game.
I want to play Doki Doki Literature Club, because I know that one has like
Is that one supposed to be good?
Yes. I guess I won't finish that sentence.
Oh.
I'm only like 2% spoiled on it, but it is very spoilable. So I'd probably play it without knowing anything before you go in. That's what I plan on doing. Maybe we'll do that another week.
Okay. Yeah.
And this one, I feel like it still scratched the itch of a dating sim, but it didn't feel like it had enough depth for me. So it felt more visual novel.
The depth of the stats and like, because literally all of the dads are into you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so like,
you don't have to,
when we talk about like who to recommend it to,
yeah,
like I think people who love the stats, this is definitely not the game for them. But if they like the visual novel, they like the funny, quirky, good story, it is heartfelt. I feel like those people would really enjoy it, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who I would recommend it to is people like me who want to play a game on their laptop in bed. Because it was great, and that's what I did.
Well, you ran it on Mac too, didn't you?
And I ran it on my Mac, my MacBook Air. It's my laptop. It is not a powerful machine. I mean, it's fine. It's good.
Yeah. I would say too, the little interesting bit is this wasn't as explicit as I thought it would be, and
I would agree.
Yeah, I would say that like if you were wanting something heartfelt but not necessarily something super raunchy, I think you could definitely play this game that way. Minus the Joseph ending, everything felt honestly pretty tame. Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. I would play.
I'd play it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I spent like whatever the hours into it. Yeah.
12 hours well spent.
I don't think that it is my number one game after playing.
Yeah. It's not your Quantic Foundry's predicted top game.
Yes, it is not my top game. I think it hit a lot of boxes for me, but what I don't think it hit was I don't do super well reading a lot of text at once all at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so that part for me was a little bit of a slog. But other than that, I really enjoyed it.
I utilized the fast forward that they give you. Did you see that in the... Oh.
No.
That's a nice feature. That's a nice one. Recommend.
I would recommend it. Yeah, for sure.
Should I put a jingle here for off topic? Off topic section.
Off topic.
Off topic.
Oh, Bachelor in Paradise.
Do you have thoughts?
Okay.
Off topic section. Mm-hmm. Bachelor in Paradise.
I feel like it's kind of a running joke at this point that people watch Bachelor and Bachelorette so that they'll have the lore for Bachelor in Paradise.
Yes.
And so I'm a little disappointed this season that so many of them I do not know.
Oh, who do you not know?
I think what happened with Clayton's season was it got overtaken by Shanae. And then the whole entire, half of the season was Shanae. And that's all I can remember. And so all of the girls from Clayton's season that didn't have a conflict with Shanae, I do not know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, watching them, I'm like, I don't understand this conflict right now. I don't get it. It seems a little silly. That's fine. And then the girl, whoever was pretending it was her birthday or something ridiculous.
That was amazing, though. That was the best part. So I have a confession. I enjoy the idea of the Bachelor franchise shows. And I usually really like the beginnings. And I fall off on each of the seasons because it gets really boring. The beginning is nice and drama-y and juicy. But then when they start having relationships, the facade leaves and you're like, oh, it's a really fake dating show. I think the last good season was Rachel Lindsay.
Rachel was really, really good. I will say though that the most entertaining was Hannah's.
Oh, I thought Pilot Pete.
It was so bad but so good.
Hannah's season was also great. And Pilot Pete. So, sorry. The last one that I thought was good, Rachel Lindsay, quote unquote, good.
Nice love story, good
fun
lead,
to watch.
Fun to watch, yeah.
Hannah B and Pilot Pete, and then it's just been downhill from there.
I agree. They've been really bad lately. Yeah.
But how I watch it is I watch. I'll put him in the show notes because he should probably get a shout out. Bachelor Fan Take. Have you heard of?
Yeah.
I just watch his recaps, and it's just as good as watching the show, if not better, because then I just get the good stuff.
Yeah.
And he puts a lot of effort into editing the clips together and stuff, so I literally feel like I'm watching the best parts of the show.
I haven't actually watched his stuff, but I do, and I usually watch, it's just I drink while I watch and then I snark while I watch because I love snarking.
Yeah.
And so I do watch it.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite parts is I need to look it up, but there's a person who does recap articles, and they are so snarky and so funny. They're everything. Okay. And honestly, that's my favorite part of the whole season is reading the snark afterwards.
It's just reading it.
Yeah. But I feel like it's definitely gone downhill since Champagne Gate. I feel like I haven't had a moment.
That Finasco.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so one of my other favorite parts, if you haven't, turn on the subtitles while you watch, because whoever does the subtitles for The Bachelor and Bachelorette is so freaking funny.
Do you think it's by hand? Do you think
I think it's by hand, because whenever they say the wrong word and they say a mispronunciation or whatever, they put it in quotes and they put the fake word. And
Amazing.
So they literally put Finasco in quotes.
Finasco.
And then they had the way that they describe the music is always really funny, because it's not just quiet music. It's deeply disturbed music. Great. It's the subtitles I just really appreciate, and they've been less good the last couple seasons, but I remember Pilot Pete seasons with subtitles on was a 10 out of 10 experience.
I so good. Also love Victoria F's excuse you what, I mean,
Yes, very good.
Classic. Excuse me, what?
Very good. But I will probably continue watching Bachelor in Paradise.
I will keep watching it via recaps.
Yeah, which I think makes sense. I usually get bored about halfway through. So, yeah.
Or I can watch it. The problem is my, like, friend group gets together and watches them, and there's some people that really like it. And if I watch it...
You can't snark because they really like it.
No. You can snark, but you can't fast forward.
Oh, that is a bummer.
And I gotta fast forward.
Yeah,
I have to fast forward some boring stuff or gross makeout sessions.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, why are they always so gross?
Too much tongue.
I know.
Always
it's like
too much tongue.
Always.
Yeah.
The joke from like last season where Gabby and what's his face, I don't know, kiss, and it's obviously the worst kiss you've ever seen. He's like licking her face, and then she's like, "You're such a good kisser." Afterwards, I'm like, "That's not true." Gabby.
No. You know it isn't.
It cannot be true.
It was Mario. Because I think she just wanted to be kissed.
Yeah.
Remember, she's like, no one's kissing me. And then he was the first one to do it. And so she was confusing first with the good.
And probably also, it's a little embarrassing to tell somebody that the kiss was really bad on national television. And
That's true.
She gave him the first impression rose, so maybe she was like, if I embarrass this man on national television and say he's a bad kisser, then if I pick him, then that's gonna like hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't know. Okay. Okay, so thank you for listening to our podcast.
Our very first podcast.
Our very first one. The podcast art was done by the lovely Tanisha Vernikar, and the intro song was produced by me, Maddie Wisnat. Join us next time to hear us two baddies break down Overwatch 2.
I'm so excited.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.